If you're looking for a way to level your truck and get a more responsive ride in your 2019 or newer four-wheel drive Silverado 1500, these Eibach Pro-Truck Front Coil-Overs are a good set to consider. Now, this specific pair of coilovers is a direct replacement to your factory strut and ranges from stock height all the way up to 2.2 inches of lift, which is great for the Silverado owner who wants to dial in their preferred lift height for a better look, a larger tire, and or some better clearance. Now, these are also a great maintenance choice if your front struts are already feeling a little bit worn for wear, whether you're tough on your truck or not and just need a replacement, but you also want an upgrade for a more controlled and comfortable feel day to day. Now, this set is very simple. It's a direct bolt-on swap for your factory struts, but these offer so much more thanks to the design. Now, these are fully height adjustable, ranging anywhere from that stock 0 inches of lift mark all the way up to 2.2 inches of lift, which makes a big difference in your ground clearance and clearance inside the wheel well, allowing up to a 33-inch tire to be mounted up. Now, the additional height also levels out the rake in the truck for a more leveled appearance and offers a tougher look to the Silverado. Now, these also feature variable valving or variable force valving, which means that the coilovers are a little stiffer compared to the factory set without the loss of comfortability, which helps maintain traction while you're driving. And if you do get into some uneven terrain or hit larger bumps, they do respond very quickly with a controlled feel so you can have more confidence while you're driving. Now, these are both made of an anodized 6061 T6 billet aluminum construction when it comes to the mounts and the body of the shock itself, being heat resistant for good heat dissipation while you're working the strut very hard, and they are going to be durable. Now, the dampener also has a nitrogen charged monotube design, which gives it a bit of that stiffness that I mentioned that you'll feel. It resists shock fade very well when being worked really hard, so you get a consistent feel with this set, and you also get that longevity out of this set for a longer lifespan compared to the stock struts. Now, these are also fully adjustable, as I mentioned, with a threaded spring perch to accommodate that increased load and achieve maximum clearance. It also comes with a spanner wrench in the kit to make sure that you can dial in that height to your preferred setting. Now, this set is about $950 and is a pretty average price point for replacement struts, especially ones that offer an extra boost in height. Now, comparing this to other solutions in the category, this does provide that adjustable lift, the responsive and comfortable variable force valving, and is a direct swap, while others may consist of a spacer as far as lift solutions are concerned that may be more cost effective but won't give you the ride or the flexibility and height that you may need out of your truck. On the other hand, with just 2 struts coming in this kit compared to other more involved kits, that gives you the choice to customize your suspension and tailor it to your needs, making it a great option to consider. Now, this is a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. I do recommend some mechanical experience in order to tackle this job, and it should take about 3 hours or so to get these bolted up to the truck. Now, I do highly recommend getting an alignment after the install for proper wear and proper performance. However, at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers. They're going to show you a detailed breakdown on how these bolt up to the truck, whether you are tackling this job or you're just curious about the install. So that wraps it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and get into it.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, a hammer, a 1/4 inch ratchet, a 21, 15, 10, and 9mm socket, an 18 and 14mm wrench, and a pry bar. All right, today we're gonna be installing a lift kit on our Silverado. First, we'll watch a quick video how to uninstall a stock system, then we'll come back here to install the new one.
All right, first step here, once you get your wheels out of the way and your vehicle supported up in the air, we're gonna start removing our ABS line bracket. There's one here on the knuckle and one on the upper control arm. Grab a 10mm socket and get those off. Now, what I like to do is once you pop that off, I like to just put the bolt back on just so we don't lose it. Just a couple of threads, and then do the one at the top. Next up, we're going to remove our sway bar end link. Now, this is a pretty difficult one. You want to have a couple of specialty tools here. Not necessarily specialty tools, but specific tools. What you want to use is an 18mm wrench. Put that on the nut here on the back first. Then you're going to grab a 1/4 inch ratchet and a 9mm deep socket and hold that stud on the back end. And you're gonna ratchet this guy off like this, instead of ratcheting the nut, just because it's a really tight space. So using the 9mm on the stud itself, you can start to loosen it all the way up and remove it. All right, once you have that nut backed all the way off, pull the end link out of the sway bar, and then I'm just gonna put the nut back on the stud. Next, we're gonna tackle the upper control arm to the knuckle here by removing the 18mm nut. I'm gonna use an 18 ratcheting wrench for this. Now, if it gets to the point where the entire stud is spinning, you can put this guy in there, follow it up with the appropriate size Allen key, and hold that stud steady. All right, making life easier here because this is starting to get stuck, we're gonna switch over to a T40 Torx socket, and using my ratchet, we're gonna hold that stud steady and ratchet this guy the rest of the way off. There you go. And what I like to do is just take the nut, put it right back on the stud. Next up, switch over to a 21 deep socket and get the tie rod end off. All right, we may need to grab a hammer to knock this guy loose. Once you have that knocked loose, let's pull that guy out. And just like the other ones, I'm gonna put this nut back on. Next up, switch over to a 15 deep socket. We're gonna get the 2 bolts holding the bottom of the strut to the lower control arm off. All right, next up, grab a 14mm ratcheting wrench. We're gonna remove the top 3 nuts holding on the strut here. That's gonna be the last step before the strut comes out. There are 2 right here in the front you can easily see, and 1 deeper in the back, which is difficult to see, but you're just gonna hit these 2 and then repeat for the 1 in the back. Once you break it loose, you can usually get it off by hand. Okay, repeat that for the 1 in the back. All right, from there, pull this guy down and set it aside.
So now we're gonna get our new coilover. Now this is set at the max height, so we don't need to adjust that. If you wanna go lower, you can spin it lower. You just wanna make sure that you have the arrow facing out, it says towards wheel. We're gonna get this in place. Just line it up and let it rest there for right now. So now we're gonna put our hardware in the bottom of our strut. Now you would take your factory nut clip that clips onto the factory strut and take them off. You see the slots in there for it. We have a nut and bolt, so we're just gonna do it our way. Otherwise you would have your 15mm bolt that would go up through the bottom. We're just gonna get these in place. If you need to, you just tap them in with a hammer. So now I'm gonna grab my impact and 15mm socket. Now, like I said, you would tighten your bolt. We have our nuts. We're just gonna tighten those down. And I have a 17mm wrench to hold the head, but you wouldn't have that. So now we're gonna take our 3 supplied nuts and thread them onto our studs up top. Now these are 14mm, so it's the same as the factory. We'll get these threaded on and tightened down with our ratcheting wrench. So next we're gonna get our knuckle back in our upper control arm here so we can get that started. If you need to, you can grab a little pry bar. Just go like that, pull down, so it's easier to thread on our nut. We'll go ahead and grab our 18mm ratcheting wrench and tighten that down. Now that's not spinning underneath, so we can go ahead and just tighten it down all the way. So we're gonna grab our 10mm bolts and re-secure our wiring harnesses here. So we have our one on our knuckle and then one on our upper control arm. Get those back in place and then grab our ratchet and 10mm socket and tighten those down. So we're gonna get our sway bar link back in place. You can just push down a little bit on the sway bar and thread on our nut. Now we're gonna grab our 18mm wrench and our 1/4" ratchet with our 9mm deep socket, tighten that down. Last thing we need to do is reinstall our tie rod. So we're gonna get that back in our knuckle, thread on our nut and grab our impact and 21mm socket, tighten that down. Now once you have this side all secured back together, you can go ahead and repeat all those same steps on the other side. And that wraps up our install of our Eibach Pro-Truck Front Coil-Overs for a 0 to 2.2 inch lift for our 2019 and newer 4-wheel drive Silverado 1500. And remember, for everything Silverado, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.